look, there is no debating Anaheim 1 is weird, and we've seen it over and over. And if you want to go back to the 90s, Anaheim 1 is weird a lot of times.
Yep.
And you can't really base on what happened at Anaheim 1 for the rest of the year. Or can we? Like, Tomac and Webb are past champions, and they look great. And so is that real? Or what's more real?
I definitely feel like the Tomac thing is real.
Yeah.
We had so much of it last year, and literally the only question I had about whether we would see kind of continuation of that same theme was the motorcycle. And that didn't seem like it was a problem. If anything, it felt like he was better than he was before. So you really try to not draw conclusions out of the first round. That's always a bad idea. But given last year, given the momentum he's had, and given that he's never won A1, he has one podium in 9 tries, now 2 in 10. How can you not think these guys are in big trouble?
Yeah.
I don't understand how you could not think that, okay, maybe he's not champ, but if I'm one of those guys and I'm leaving there and this is the championship that I think I'm going to win, I'm very worried about what I saw from Tomac.
Webb made the podium last year.
He did.
And then literally made one other one, I think, the rest of the year.
I'm not as sold on Webb yet.
You're not
I need
as sold.
more.
Okay.
But Tomac,
right.
Why would I be worried about? Like, it's just more of the same, right?
Yeah.
Like Webb, if I was trying to make a case against Webb, I would say, okay, well, the track was what works for him. The whoops, you could jump through them. It was slow. You had to pick your way around it. Like, that's what all the things he does well.
We rewatched the race today, and he is 6 seconds back with like 4 minutes to go.
Yep. So if you're making the case against why Webb is going to be a new guy, you would just say, well, that track didn't prove anything. It's too much of a outlier track to prove anything.
Yeah.
But if you were on the other side and you were like, okay, well, why would you say Webb is back? That type of ride is very comparable to the rides of yesteryear where Webb would hunt Roczen down in the last laps and just outduel him, right? You go back to his 2019 championship year, it was shades of that where he would just, the last lap, knock Roczen out of the way, get second, right? He kind of did that to Sexton.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wait and see. But I think,
but you're in on Tomac.
I think you have to be.
Yeah, I do.
I think you have to be.
I agree. Bike of the year.
I mean, I give you a lot of crap about it, but it looked pretty damn good. And then if you wanted to back it up, just go Ferrandis getting fourth, right?
Yeah, and both guys' starts in the heat were great, and Ferrandis was still good in the main. And Tomac was great.
Do you make anything of the split start with Tomac and like that whole dynamic there of the start? Do you remember the Glendale thing?
Yeah. No, I was assured they fixed that.
Okay.
So I mean, this is the AMA we're talking
I don't
about.
know. I don't know.
Right, yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, lots to get into when it comes to the race. The track was brutal, JT. It wasn't long ago that you were racing, although probably, we talked about Tim Ferry podium 15 years ago, and that really shook me to my core. But it wasn't that long that you raced difficult track, like over revs, under jumps, over jumps.
Everybody was Barsha.
Guys just flying off left and right. If you were a guy who didn't have much skill as some of the top 450 guys, you really struggled.
Yeah.
And I think it wore you down. Sexton, to me, I know he listens to the show, or sometimes anyways, he's probably going to get mad at me. He looked really tired. Maybe there was something else. He looked really tired. I'm not ready to say, Sexton's not in shape. That's not my headline.
Yeah.
It was this track. And I think this track really wore guys down. That's why Webb charged up. That was all fitness to me, why he did that. Tomac, we don't ever need to question his fitness. And then Sexton looked tired.
I'm going to go. I understand absolutely why you'd say that because we watched the race together. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say he got tight, right? Air quotes around tight.
Okay, all right.
But more like arm pump, like he was out front winning A1, biggest race of the year. Like, it's a big deal, right? And I think he let the moment get to him a little bit, and I think he tightened up.
How would he get the moment get to him? He's Chase Sexton. He's won before.
It's still
led
A1.
Laps. He's led laps. He's done everything.
It's still A1. But you watch him ride. So I was watching him the last lap.
The heat, he took off in the heat. He's gone.
I was watching him the last lap, and he didn't look physically exhausted to me on the last lap. Like, hanging, like, can't push. He was, like, trying to make a run back at Webb, like, with a lap and a half to go. So, to me, I just think his arms got tight, and he couldn't go the pace anymore. I don't think he was, like, heart rate redlining, can't hold on. Like, I think he's in better shape than that.
I think he looked tired. That track wore you down, and he probably maybe got a little bit of OJs, and then that takes a lot of energy out of you, and then you get past.
I just think you couldn't hold on the same way you need to go the pace that Tomac was going.
But my point being is like I think he got tired at Anaheim 1. If next time we have a normal race, he's fine. He's going to be able to do. He's not like he's not doing 20s all long, right? I just think for whatever reason that race wasn't great for him. Oh, by the way, we talked on the review show about some people thinking Tomac was on a mishmash of a 22, 23 bike. Like
I was not one of those.
No. And I'm not either.
I don't know anything about that.
I was the one telling you, like, I don't know how physically, I don't know how it would work because of the frame differences. I was telling you that. I think he's on a 23. I just think he is. I looked at some more photos.
It looked like a 23 when I was watching it today. No, really, it did. I watched him all year last year.
But you don't even know like the physical.
No, but I watched him a lot, last year, up close on TV. The bike I was next to the bike a million times during the summer last year, right? Yeah. Just watching it and just the dynamics of it. It didn't look like the same bike. It looks small. Yeah. It looks really compact.
Right.
It doesn't look like the same bike as last year. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
I think that some people, Yamaha was being weird with photos. I don't know why. I couldn't get to the bottom of that. They're being weird with photos. Probably a sponsor conflict, like Eli's running Renthal grips on his Pro Taper bar, which he's always done. I don't know. They were being weird with photos, but I don't think it was because of a 22, 23 switch.
I don't think
that's where I'm.
It looked front end heavier than last year's bike. It just too many characteristics looked different for me to think it was a 22.
It's bike of the year. So Sexton, you want more data on Webb. You're a believer in Eli.
Yep.
Sexton, I'm not worried. Even what we saw led look, if you're Chase Sexton and Lars Lindstrom from Honda, you're like, I led 5 laps in Anaheim 1 later in the race and I didn't win. That sucks. And it kind of does. You're still walking away with a third. You're fine. You won a heat race. You blitzed a heat race. You're good. I'm not worried. I'm not.
No, I don't think you should be worried. I feel like they let an opportunity slip away. And you have to feel that way. He was winning with 3 minutes to go. You have to feel like you let an opportunity slip away. But if you understand what this race is and big picture, A1 honestly doesn't matter. If you go back over history and you correlate A1 to the rest of the series, most times it doesn't matter.
Right.
So I think if you look at it in that context and say, okay, a race that doesn't matter, we still got third, great. Let's keep it moving.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I believe in that too. All right. 450's Mookie. Ugly crash.
Yeah. I mean, but he's riding so great.
He's riding great.
He hit neutral, things happen, but I thought it was really encouraging because last year he was good, right? He got third in points after the whole Salt Lake debacle, whatever. But I had serious questions about where both KTM and Rockstar Husqvarna would be with the bike. I just didn't know. Like I didn't like the way, even though Mookie rode so well, I still didn't think that Mookie was able to hit the whoops as fast as he wanted to. We saw them having big get-togethers and trying to sort the bike out last year. There was big group meetings and all those things. I didn't see him struggling at all. He looked really good. I mean, he was winning the race. So, the result sucks. He lost a bunch of points, but the riding, I think, is better than ever. I think that's the best he's ever looked, which is, bodes well for the season.
I told him that, and he said, yeah, I was riding really good. Next thing, no, I'm looking up at the lights. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you can take this away. He's like, I just saw nothing but lights. And I'm like, all right, man, yeah, you're just looking up at lights. I get it.
I was surprised they let him get back on the bike. I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
But they looked like they didn't want him back on the bike.
They looked like they didn't want to, and I'm not so sure they can do that when you're not visibly knocked out.
I don't know what the rules are.
I think if you're out cold, and we know what out cold looks like, even though Chris Blows told me he wasn't knocked out cold, when you look like you're knocked out, you shouldn't be able to get back on your bike. But Mookie never, ever, to me, looked like that. He looked maybe a little out of it, as far as where am I? But only just kind of what just happened. I think you've been there where you've gone over the bars where you're just like, what happened? Lots to dissect with that.